Aloha, Mother Fathers. Welcome in another episode of the Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast. Of course, like, subscribe over on YouTube as well as all your social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and even the audio versions too over on Spotify and the iHeartRadio app. Kyle Cornell, the Horse AA, Anthony Alford with us for the show today. You, my friend, had a very eventful weekend this past Royal Rumble weekend. You thought, now, to set this up a little bit so Double A can kind of explain what he went through, because obviously you have to live it. There was a set of multiple months involved. You may have even heard us mention about going to some place in Willoughby, and even behind the scenes we were hyping things up about going to a certain ex-WWE TNA professional wrestler's house. You've seen them on the show a few times to watch the Royal Rumble. It was a huge invite. We were all excited. It was going to be big because Double A turned 45 this past weekend. But it turns out that wasn't true.
That's right. I did not turn 45. I turned 33.
Well, there was two lies in there. That may have been the first one. But the second one was we did not go to this certain professional wrestler's house. We're close, but not that close. We're working on it. But nevertheless, why don't you tell the people what the surprise was from your beautiful fiancée, Rebecca, and what she did for you this past weekend?
Man, I'll tell you. I don't know why people love me. For months, they set up a plan for my birthday weekend, and we took a drive. The Friday, we took a drive out to the Toledo area.
How was Hooters?
Hooters was great. We went to Hooters.
She told me that. I started dying. I'm like, wow.
We went to Hooters.
He's going to have no fucking clue about Saturday at this point. Now
and
he's
there was actually a backstory, too. Like, we've been to Hooters a few times. I've hyped up Hooters.
Yeah, you have.
I've hyped it up. Why not? So we go to Hooters, and then afterwards, she was like, all right, that's great. Let's go ahead and drive back home. I'm like, oh, okay. It was a good dinner, but, like, okay. I mean, maybe you're going to
stay around a little bit. Yeah, go out.
We can go to BG like for a hot second, kind of see what's going on. To Toledo, kind of see what's going on. We drove past the Toledo campus. Yeah. But in the back of my mind, there was a turn that she made. Like, that's not the way home. At the UT campus, I forgot the name of the road, but she turned right instead of turning left. So she went to 475, the interstate over there. And okay, all right, cool. The turnpike's right there. Eventually we passed the turnpike. All right, we're going to actually go to BG. She took Anthony Wayne, the trail over there. And I'm like, I didn't say, I was just like, that's not right. And then she kept going and kept going. And then I kind of knew something was happening because when we crossed the Indiana state line.
When you left the state, you kind of figured maybe something was done.
Yeah, I put on the middle on Peacock. I just put it on. I'm like, okay, I'm kind of in on this a little bit. I don't like this. So anywho, we get to middle of nowhere, this Airbnb. Oh, let me tell you what she did, unless she told you already. I'll tell you.
I only know about the plan to go to Indianapolis on Saturday. I don't know about the rest.
So, what she did. So I was driving. So I drove like halfway. I felt bad. I'm like, you're not gonna drive the whole way. I'll drive. Whatever. The directions led to a random Taco Bell, and she insisted on, okay, we really don't have to go to Taco Bell, but there was a shopping area. Pull in this parking lot. Okay, and I'm gonna put on these blindfolds.
What the fuck? You think you're about to get murdered?
I'm about to die in the middle of Indiana. In the middle of nowhere. There's nothing. And literally, it's nothing until you get to the Indianapolis area. Put on these blindfolds. She drove for like a mile, and then we arrived at the Airbnb. This is a better story to show. So she gets out of the car with the blindfolds. She's like, I'm short enough. This will pick up. She's like, put your hands on my shoulder. This is exactly how I look, Kyle.
Put your hand on my shoulder.
Kyle, turn this way. I'll show you exactly how I look.
God damn. Fucking blindly in the blind. Jesus.
I'm like, and then I didn't know where we were.
You put a blindfold on Double A, it turns into a toddler.
Then I didn't know. She was like, there's like a step. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I took the step. Like, oh, that's not a big deal. Kept on walking. Oh, no, there's a huge step coming up.
Fucking take you on the yellow brick road? Where the fuck were you going?
Anyway, we get in there.
Did you see the wizard?
Felt like it did. Get in there. She organized with all of our, all of my friends from college, and they're all couples and stuff. I see like a birthday cake. I walked in. I see a birthday cake. I see the decorations, and I see an arm like this. Getting my reaction, and it was a whole surprise. It was great. And then they were like, "You know why we're here?" And I'm like, "Sure, we're here to see a Pacers game." No, it was fantastic, and we're going to talk a little bit about my observations from the Royal Rumble. Because I didn't have no idea about this trip, weeks ago, I bought tickets to Raw. So
you got a twofer.
So went to both Royal Rumble, and apparently the entire city of Cleveland went to Monday Night Raw, which we'll talk about. I mean, my goodness. And thankfully, we don't tape this show until Wednesday because she was like, we need to meet up with Kyle. We need to meet up. And I'm like, I don't have a voice. I have nothing. I'm just going to smile.
We didn't stay we left before the dark match started because my kid had school in the morning and stuff too. So, and it was his first show, and he was really into it for the first hour and a half. And then he got tired.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, I got a video of him doing the eat stuff and everything too. Like he was all into it, but then he got, by the time the third hour hit, he was like sitting like cross-legged on this chair. Like, I'm like,
man.
You're tired, aren't you, buddy? He's like,
oh, that's nice.
I'm like, oh.
We're going to talk a little bit about that, but overall, to answer your question, I'm surrounded. This will be the only time I talk positively about any of my friends and family.
Oh, Jesus.
Everybody knew except me, and it was really cool. And I hate all of you because you all lied to me for months. Oh, I didn't tell you. I turned to Rebecca after all the surprise, and I was like, at first, I was like, so what about the... I can't say his name. What about the person we're supposed to meet? And I quickly realized
that was never a thing.
That was a lie.
That was never a thing. That was never a thing. She leaned over to me. I think it was the show you had to leave halfway through for. And for some reason, I brought up Royal Rumble to Pete. I was like, man, we got to figure out what we're going to do for this. It's going to be kind of a big deal. And then the Raw's right after in Cleveland and all that. And she leaned over and she's like, don't worry about it. I'm like, what? And she told me. And I was like, oh, shit. All right. She's like, yeah, I have this thing I'm going to try and do. I'm like, all right, tell me what you want me to do. I can play into it, whatever you want. And then, it was like a thing leading up to it. Where I'm like, all right, well, I guess
she asked me after the fact, like, you never contacted this person about it. I'm like, no, I did not think.
Yeah, the whole thing was contingent on you never actually asking EC3, hey, what time should we be there? Because if you do that, we're fucked.
Yeah,
it's over. This is not going to be a thing anymore.
Oh, man. So afterwards, we'll tell you about the trip and stuff, but... maybe we go to Royal Rumble next year. Oh, crap. We can't. You know where Royal Rumble's going to be next year? They've already announced the location.
Oh, it's in Saudi.
Yeah, we can't.
I mean, you could. You have to get a passport.
We could go. Yeah. She can't go. I mean, she could go, but,
She can go.
I mean.
She just has to be fully clothed the entire time.
Completely covered.
Well, they're getting a little more loose with that.
Yeah.
Not as loose as a goose, but maybe like a duck.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's talk Rumble. There's a ton of things here going on. But that was cool. I want to thank everybody for that. Jey Uso, main event Jey Uso. That was highly controversial, apparently, with main event Jey Uso. We're going to talk about that.
Then you saw Raw, and you're like, okay.
We're going to talk about it.
Holy shit.
I do want to discuss both Royal Rumble matches.
Yeah.
Kind of reaction out of it. There were some really, really... a lot of news coming out of both of those, a lot of reaction. We were both expectingly at Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, we knew we were going to do that.
Yeah.
We got a text from Rebecca at like 10:15. Like the show's almost, you guys here? I'm like, yeah, what the fuck? Been here the entire time. Like, yeah, like you did tour with my son. She's like, oh, have a good time. I'm like, yeah, we're doing great. He's like passed out in the fucking seat. Yeah. Like, we're doing great.
No, she was like, we got to meet up with Kyle. I'm like, no.
If it was just me, I would have stayed for the full dark match, and I would have stayed longer.
It wouldn't
but
even matter. Like,
because I took off Monday, Tuesday on purpose. I was like, hey, I don't want to.
My voice was completely shot. It's still kind of gone. If you haven't,
well, you could have just tapped me like you tapped her on the shoulder. Except, I would have thought you were trying to assault me in public, and then who knows what would have happened. Like, is he good? Like, he's just hitting me for some reason. I don't know.
I do have some observations from what I saw at the Rumble. Just overall observations from the Rumble as well as the show. It's crazy because we covered SummerSlam here in Cleveland. The big event there. Here, and then seeing how Indy covered it. Pretty interesting. I did not ask you off air, or I did, but I didn't ask for a follow up. Why was Charlotte Flair booed? I want your response because you booed her.
Yeah.
I do want your response.
So part of the reason why I did is because every time someone came out, my son asked me, do we boo them or do we cheer them? And I'm like, well, let's hear what the crowd does.
Yeah.
I think the fact that, one, she won. She's the first 2-time winner of the Women's Royal Rumble. But two, also, it's the fact that it's Charlotte, 14-time champion. It's kind of like the Cena thing, right? Mm-hmm. Back in like the early to mid 2000s, people were already sick and tired of the bullshit. They were like, okay, somebody else, and they wanted other people to show up. Don't get me started on the Nikki Bella thing. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but which apparently is going to be a thing now. I guess she's hanging out. I don't fucking know, but nevertheless, I mean, she also, I don't know if they thought backstage it was going to be everyone's going to be really excited to see Charlotte. People were booing her when she got hurt. Like, it's one of those things when you're that good. For as long as she's been that good and you've done as much as she's done, sometimes people want to see something different. There's a reason why Rhea, she's only a couple-time champion. 2 or 3-time champion? Still kind of fresh. If Rhea had won 10 or 11 titles in however many years, the same amount of Charlotte, people are probably going to get a little bit tired of Rhea too at some point. Like, it just naturally happens. Plus, her natural persona is kind of like, she's a fucking heel. She's a Flair. I mean, it's They're still going to woo, and then they're going to boo.
I do have a perspective on it. We'll talk about it. Roman, Rollins, and Punk. Is that a thing? Is that
Lions and Tigers and Bears?
Yeah. And then Kevin Owens and Logan Paul. Put those names together because WWE is kind of lacking in top tier heels. But man, I think they're right up there. I think they're the top two. And then time permitting, now what? There's a ton of superstars that either look good or didn't look good at the Rumble. But now the picture is clear. It's the reason why we do our WrestleMania predictions before the Rumble.
Boy, we got those fucking wrong, didn't we? Like, immediately.
Yeah, we did.
Fuck.
Yeah, we did. All right, our sweet moment of the week brought to you by B.A. Sweeties. I'll show you where I was at. I think somewhere back here.
You were all the way up.
Yeah, we were up there, but still looked very clear.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I'll jump ahead here for a second. That was our view. Yeah.
It's not bad.
Like, the only thing we couldn't see was the entrance. Like, the entrance. But you could see pretty much everything. Okay. Let me ask you from watching at home, your initial reaction when main event Jey Uso won the Rumble. Take away what happened on Raw. Just your initial reaction when he won the Royal Rumble.
When Punk got eliminated by Logan Paul, which that should be a story in its own right at this point. Holy shit. Ironically enough, after Punk eliminated Rollins and Reigns, which is crazy to think about too, which we'll get to in a little bit. And I saw it was just going to be Cena, Paul, and Jey, but I knew that Logan was going to go out soon after that. I was like, man, it's going to come down to Cena and Jey. So, okay, so you know what? They're going to run with John. I can't believe this. Like, I thought for sure that he was going to have a good showing and then kind of bow out at the end or whatever it was, and he'd make the final four, but that's it. And then they actually went back and forth in the spot. I didn't expect it. I thought it was going to be more like grandiose for Jey, but you got to think Jey's moveset too doesn't have a lot of things he does. So just pushing him off made the most sense, and it was the shock.
Yeah.
And I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
And it seems so simple too, like how it was executed at the end there.
Yeah, it's just, man. And in my head, all I could think about was, I'm going to get fucking Jey and Gunther again. And they keep giving us this match. And you know what? I think from the time to digest it, even excluding Raw, just time to just think about it and even just take Raw out of the avenue with it. It is that true, like, underdog. Man, I just keep trying. I can't seem to get there. And then you finally get there. I mean, that's the story they're trying to tell with that, which unfortunately means we're going to get 3 more months of Gunther as World Heavyweight Champion, which he needs to get rewritten at some point and get something new because,
by the way,
including Raw, that was not a great promo. It was rough. It was tough for me to watch, but I mean,
I thought the opposite. I'm actually kind of turning the corner.
I knew what was coming. That's why it was like, okay, like, you know, I'm going to be at SmackDown. No, you're not. Like, okay, yeah. But he had dab up Cody and walk out. Like, come on. Like, there's no way you're fighting Cody Rhodes for that unless Roman tells him something. They have to add some layer of that into SmackDown for me to be interested in Jey even being there because we all know he's picking Gunther, which, I mean, hey.
Basically, Cody has to make a case for why Jey should be
pick
comfortable fighting him.
Yeah. I'm more concerned about how a certain person from that match between Cody and KO showed up on Monday and was able to do its stuff when Cody couldn't be there, but KO could. Blow my fucking mind on that one, but nevertheless, surprised.
He was literally bent.
Yeah,
KO.
That was fucking wild.
Bent.
That spot was nuts. I lost my shit when I saw that in my living room. Not in Indianapolis like someone I know, but I kind of want to know your perspective because you were there. The crowd. There were cheers, but I also felt there was some shock.
Yes. So I will say this. It felt like probably, I should have wrote this down, but the last 7 guys remaining in the match, you could make a case that any of them could have won. Any of them.
But Jey would have been in the bottom tier of that 7 for me.
That's why I was
I love Jey. I love Jey.
Kyle, that's exactly where I was getting at.
Yeah.
I think those 7, obviously the both of us picked CM Punk. That was the meal ticket. And then, all right, Punk's knocked out. John Cena could do this. I even thought for a split second, man, are they going to really, if Logan Paul would have won,
oh, God,
they would have tore the house down, and not in a good way.
No,
that place would have burned if Logan Paul,
maybe one day, but not yet.
The heat was real with Logan Paul.
There's no story with Logan, so that's the part that we know. Cena, 17th title, Jey trying to finally overcome the top of the mountain.
Well, there is a story with Logan. The undeserving guy who doesn't really care about this business goes in and
but to that be your
Rumble.
main story going into it? I don't know about that.
No. But my point is,
I get it though.
My point is, those 7 guys,
yeah.
Roman Reigns, even Seth Rollins, who would have been, you could make a case.
Yeah.
Kind of what we did last week. You can make that case. And it showed man, WWE is in the best shape since the Attitude Era in terms of top level guys who could do it. You want to know how stacked it was? They got Jacob Fatu out early to ensure that top 7 was protected. I want to talk about Fatu a little bit later on. But when it came down to the final 3, I found myself rooting for Jey because, man, at some point, if he doesn't win here, he's been close so many times, so many opportunities. If he doesn't win the big one, it's wrestling. It could happen, but it won't happen.
It literally didn't even register. It didn't register in my head. I couldn't even think he's going to do this. I always, because you know who he's with. And the story about Cena and 17 and all that stuff, you just, okay, then in the back of my head, I'm like, he said he's going to be at Elimination Chamber. So would they really? No, they're not going to go Jey.
It felt to me that, okay.
But I watched the post show.
Mm-hmm.
And after watching what Cena said in the post show, I am totally 100% okay with Jey winning that.
Oh, yeah. So
because Cena gave the promo of his
I was
life.
walking out the stadium, Rob texted me because he watched the post show. He was like, "Yeah, Jey Uso already announced that he was going to face Gunther, for the world title." I did like what I loved. First off, the moment itself, unreal, unbelievable. It's truly, as we said last week, a feel-good story. It's what the Royal Rumble is about. Most years, you do have your favorites win it all. Most years. But occasionally, it does feel good to have somebody who is hot be rewarded. Maybe the timing, WrestleMania, whatever, but to have somebody who's red hot get it done. Hey, maybe Triple H does pull the trigger on this guy. Think about, LA Knight at one point was red hot, and they didn't pull the trigger. And LA Knight is never going to reach that level of stardom.
It would take a lot to get back to where he was, yeah.
Even going back, I'll go way back. Even Rusev at one point.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, that's
Like-
fair. He was so fucking over. The Rusev Day thing, all that stuff too. Like it was
Yeah.
one of those things that was supposed to be comedy. It was supposed to be like, oh, we're having a good time. Oh, we'll sell some merchandise, and then it got really fucking over.
So I give Triple H credit for pulling the trigger. And I think this is good, too, because think of all the names that's going to be in the chamber. Who has to win this chamber?
The fact that that's going to be such an important event makes this feel like, you know what, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get Jey and Gunther out of the way. And that means it's going to be all eyes on Cody, that championship, and that chamber, and what's going to happen. So, you know what, I'm okay with that. It's honestly one thing where, like I said, being able to sit on it for a little bit. Raw helped, obviously, too, with the reaction he got. I mean, they didn't even start the damn show for 15 minutes because it was so over. People were cheering for him nonstop. It was wild. He had to stop before he started his promo, which, again, he was winded. But he had to stop and then restart the music again and do it again. Like, it was wild. So I like the decision now. At the time, I was a little bit like, oh, fuck, that's kind of like... But
there was a woman probably 3 or 4 seats next to me who hated Jey Uso. Hated Jey Uso. Probably would have rather for Logan Paul to win, but she was all in on Cena. Every move, everything. Like, she was locked in. Everything. Like, anything John Cena did positively in that final stretch, hell yeah, let's go. And she had her phone like this. She was taping it the whole time. And when Jey Uso got Cena out of the ring, she was not cool with it.
No.
But again, what you got in the arena in that stadium, you have a ton of passionate fans, even from kids on to grown adults, who were locked in at lockstep with at least the men's Royal Rumble. I think the women's Royal Rumble came out well too, but especially the men's Royal Rumble. Starting, honestly, probably started with Joe Hendry at 15.
I think more surprises,
and then going all the way down.
More surprises in the women's. The men's was more like, we know it's stacked.
Mm-hmm.
The women's is more like, who the fuck's going to win this? We had an idea, obviously, but we were like, I don't know who's going to show up. I mean, and yeah, we'll talk about that more in a minute. But I'm totally fine with this, and I think that get that direction out of the way, really tell that story over the next few months, and then now we can focus on Cody and what the fuck's going to happen over there. So.
Our sweet moment of the week brought to you by BA Sweeties. Main event, Jey Uso, the winner of the men's 2025 Royal Rumble match. May have not seen it coming, but man, felt good for him to win. This will make you feel good every single time. BA Sweeties.
You know where you're not going to eat? BA Sweeties.
But you're going to get some good candy. It will smell good in the building.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to smell good in the building when you walk into BA Sweeties.
Control yourself.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. It's a lot of great stuff. And look, it is now February. If you've not been to BA Sweeties, you don't have much time left to get what you need for your significant other coming up. It's next week.
The calendar flips then too, right after Valentine's Day, Easter's right around the corner too. That's their Super Bowl. I mean, we can say that because we're not referencing the actual one, but nevertheless, I mean, that's what we're talking about. I mean, this is the time of the year to experience BA Sweetie and what they have to offer, all the different types of candy, all the different kinds of ice cream, shake shop too up front. I mean, Double A shaking one of his favorite things because it's sour. How much you love sour stuff. I mean, it's
one of these weeks we're gonna do the sour moment of the week. I know we do the sweet moment of the week, but maybe
you should have to chug like a half a bottle of the sour sriracha and then talk about whatever that moment is.
You should. Hey, anytime we do an AEW segment, that's our sour moment of the week.
I have a promo I like to cut later. I didn't bring the glasses, but there's a certain TikToker that I would like to get into a little bit later if we have time. So we'll see.
Speaking of social media, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Let's play our commercial. Double A Anthony Alfred here for Sweeties, a family destination satisfying sweet tooths in Northeast Ohio on Brook Park Road for over 74 years. The largest candy store in North America with 40,000 square feet stacked to the rafters with over $5 million in inventory. Come down to Sweeties today on Brook Park Road at Ridge. Just look for the giant lollipops. You know who needs BA Sweeties? Speed. Oh my
Was it as bad in person as it was? Okay, because he got.
It was worse.
iShowSpeed got knocked the fuck out.
It was worse in person.
I love Bron Breakker, man.
Because you can see Bron Breakker. You can see the speed coming off of each rope.
No pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended.
Triple H is like, listen, I need you to 23.4 is cool. Go faster.
I didn't know. So I watched it back a little bit. I didn't know the behind the scenes Speed was backstage.
Well, when Tozawa was going into the Rumble, it's like, okay.
He was talking to Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah.
My theory is Triple H is looking around. Hey. No, but BA Sweeties, like Kyle mentioned, Easter's coming up too. Matter of fact, WrestleMania weekend, Easter. So time is moving fast.
Hey, who did Speed eliminate in the Royal Rumble? The one person he eliminated. Your guy, right?
That's my guy.
Don't worry, you got some cheers in Cleveland. Yeah, good for Otis. He looks great on main event.
He did look good on main event.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
When he lost his tag team.
Natalya looked great on main event.
She looked fantastic.
BA Sweeties. Get a bunch of good candy, good stuff. Interstate 480, the Ridge Road exit. Make a left on Brook Park Road, and you'll see a giant lollipop. That's where Speed is now recovering after his
He was getting a bunch of lollipops in the hospital.
Yes, he was.
Limping backstage. Logan Paul's like, "You good, bro?"
Yeah. Hey, did you? I don't know if you also caught behind the scenes. So it was who was it? It was Mello. It was Carmelo Hayes who changed DA's spot basically, and Mello walks backstage, looks at Speed. It's like,
"Hope you're ready."
Hope you're ready.
Because he knew there was
for
once there was nobody else in Gorilla apparently getting ready to go out, so it was just Speed and Stephanie McMahon talking, and it's like, okay, this is they're giving Mello little pieces here or there, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, that's why I'm like for everybody who's like, I'm very concerned about Mello. Everything will be fine.
They got plenty of time.
Everything will be
28 years old. They have plenty of time to get him to where he needs to go.
Well, Cook, I understand it. I do understand the concerns. I'm not saying don't be concerned.
It's also packed right now. You mentioned that the Royal Rumble was stacked. All these guys, Cena's around. There's so much going on with all these guys that have been around longer that it's going to take a little bit of time. He's going to have to win a mid-card championship before we start to really consider Mello one of those guys. So just give him his time. There's a match, I'm sure, coming up soon with Shinsuke or whoever it's going to be, or if he goes to Raw with Braun, whatever. I mean, that will be putting him on that level.
Honestly, I don't know if they're still doing that Andre the Giant, whatever.
He'd be a good winner.
That's
an opportunity on the Friday before WrestleMania. You got to try and maybe do something there. So, God, fucking Jesus.
There it is.
Pete, I'm not even kidding. Imagine the craziest football hit you've ever seen in your life of a guy just getting fucking owned. Jadeveon Clowney, South Carolina, and that quarterback just wrecked him. And then it's worse because there's no padding and he got knocked the fuck out. This tiny little dude, this YouTuber with Bron Breakker, all 6 foot, 250 pounds, running 24 miles an hour off the ropes, just clocked this dude.
So the craziest thing, so he's actually a streamer. He actually is a YouTuber or whatnot.
He's got 300 million subscribers across all platforms. He's huge. Yeah.
So he was filming live backstage. And so you see the reaction of Triple H, call him, Papa H, call him over. It's all right, you're in the Rumble.
What the fuck?
What you mean? What you mean? So he's in the Rumble.
They shoot him out of the curtain, and he went out there.
And then they filmed him coming out.
Yep.
And you could tell it was live because it was buffering. By the way,
there's no good Wi-Fi on the ramp to the ring.
By the way, us at Cleveland, we didn't know about the buffering issues with Raw. We'll talk about it next week if it happens, but we didn't see it. We saw the shit live.
So sucks to be you.
Yeah. Looking back, I thought it was actually Wyatt 6 the way it was filmed. Anywho, get it off track.
Well, maybe it was. You never know.
Never know.
Yeah.
So we caught that live, and then they kept filming, and he's walking in pain. God, he's crushed. Oh, man. And I'm not kidding, Kyle. You literally see Bron Breakker's his speed ramps up live in person. I guess where I was sitting at, too. You can kind of see the angle of it just shoot up. It's crazy.
Dude's a former football player, too.
TV does not do justice how fast this guy moves.
I'm very excited, like I said, for the next 2 to 3 years when he becomes a WrestleMania main eventer, because that dude is, and he's got the promo ability. He's getting some more personality now, too. and we know the wrestling's there. So it's he's going to be the best Steiner.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, out of all of them, he might be. And he's got 2 Hall of Famers. His dad, his uncle are Hall of Famers, but it don't matter. This dude's going to be a multiple-time world heavyweight champion. He's going to be
amazing
in the conversation for years and years to come.
I didn't make a separate slide for the different women and the men's and whatnot. I just want to use this opportunity to talk overall about the Rumble. Let's start with the women. Overall thoughts there. First off, Alexa Bliss is back.
Got the biggest pop.
Alexa Bliss is back.
Your pick, and I thought for a second, I'm like, okay, what are they going to do with this? Are they going to let it come down to because again, we had no idea who's going to be the final couple in the. I'm glad Roxanne was able to get there to the end, which is great for her. That's a huge building block as they try to kind of get her
big time
moving up towards the main roster and all that. I think she deserved to be in that spot. But I was curious, with Alexa, okay, is this going to be short? She hasn't wrestled in over a year.
I was wondering too as she came out, is this Goddess Alexa Bliss? Is there going to be?
So I don't know.
Is she going to be fully ingrained into the YS6, or is it how is that going to turn out? We don't have an answer.
Well, she did the Fiend jacket thing to pay homage to Bray. First time back. That's kind of cool. I guess apparently she's going to SmackDown. Then again, Dave Meltzer's reporting that this is the same Dave Meltzer also reported that she wasn't coming back and that there was so many issues. Because WWE almost feeds you bullshit, Dave.
So what was the shot that Michael Cole gave when Alexa?
The internet said she's not supposed to be here. Yeah.
I saw that. I'm like, whoa, he said that?
You're not a fucking reporter. The people who you know in WWE are playing you on purpose because you have a handful of people that listen and watch your fucking weird little show you have with Brian Alvarez, who's starting to come to his senses a little bit more. And then you, dude.
I'm not in agreement with that part.
Alvarez there's a few things where he's like, this doesn't make any sense. And Dave's, of course, the ultimate defender of everything AEW is trying to defend it. And Brian's like, no, it doesn't fucking make any sense. What are you talking about? But
what do you mean? Everybody was watching Collision on Saturday.
No, the fuck they weren't. I sent you that clip, and there's a reason why. Fucking bullshit. But nevertheless, this is one of those things where, again, that was honestly a cool thing for me. It was a huge letdown. I feel like you could correct me if I'm wrong, but the crowd kind of deflated a little bit too when Nikki came out at 30. I think everyone thought AJ. Everyone thought AJ Lee was going to be there.
We thought mostly it would be either AJ or Becky.
Becky feels.
It was so. What we were talking about? I'm like, okay, there was at number 28. All right, we have 2 names left. We knew Nia Jax was in the match.
Yeah.
So okay. Let's hope Nia comes out at 29.
Yes.
She comes out at 29, then something big's going to happen at 30.
Yeah.
So Nia comes out at 29. Okay, cool. All right, what's going to happen here at 30? If AJ comes back, holy smokes, but if she doesn't come back,
who the fuck's going to be 30?
Who's going to be 30?
I was racking my brain.
Yeah.
I was like, who hasn't come out
it's either AJ or Becky, AJ or Becky, or somebody who I'm not thinking of.
I thought maybe Lita for a second because I was like, hey, Trish came out at 25, which was cool to see too. I guess maybe she's going to be back around a little bit now. I don't know what they're gearing up.
I didn't think about this too about Trish. Trish retired from full-time competition in 2006.
Yeah.
But she's crazy.
She might be in better shape now than she's ever been.
Yeah. That is crazy.
We talked about Stone Cold. It's the same kind of thing where hey, they don't, get ready, they stay ready type stuff. She's been good to go the entire time. She just wanted to do different things.
To answer your question about Nikki Bella,
I feel like maybe at first people were excited after okay, yeah, it's cool, Nikki's back, because again, remember they left WWE completely. Mm-hmm. And now that maybe they found the grass wasn't greener when they worked a little bit with AEW, they were hey.
I think for me it was oh, cool, she's back. She's not going to win.
Yeah.
There was
a writing her off type thing. But I should say writing because Nikki is a former champion.
Right.
And Hall of Famer.
But she's not going to win.
No.
And the way the field was.
I wouldn't think AJ was going to win either.
No. Charlotte's, she's the right call.
She was this
she's
year.
The right call.
This year she was the only call.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't really. Even if Becky, I don't want to see Becky and Rhea again, at least not right now. I didn't really have a clamoring for Becky and Tiffany. I think we saw that maybe in NXT at one point. I think Becky beat her too. I wanted to say for the title down there. So it's there's
and
not really
nobody and nobody else, even your stars in that. Unlike the men's match where you had 7 people who you could make an argument for. Like Bianca Belair right now, she's not in a position to win the Rumble.
This may have been the year, if it wasn't going to be Charlotte, for someone that like the Jey Uso on for Ben. It could have been a Roxanne year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, let's fucking shock everyone. It could have been Jordan Grace.
Mm-hmm.
Like, holy shit, she's strong, dude.
Yeah, she. Yeah,
like, I want to see her and Jade
good.
Cargill in a match just to see who can lift up someone else bigger, or like whatever. I want to see that happen.
But you did see some storyline developments. Like, hey, don't look now. Bianca Belair heel turn is cooking. Don't look now. But the way that she reacted when Naomi and Jordan Grace embraced, they had their history, of course.
Yeah.
You know, and there was a little bit of jealous Bianca Belair is cooking.
It could go either way with that. It could be Naomi or Bianca, but someone's turning there at some point.
Somebody's turning.
I would imagine relatively soon, so they can tell a proper story involving whoever. Jade is the big wild card and all that too. When is she coming back? She's been training, I guess. So
it has to be Belair though. That's your ticket there.
Which took her out, maybe.
That's your
who's
ticket.
strong enough to take Jade out. I mean, that's why Nia was one of the prime suspects because she's big enough and strong enough to take her out.
And Bianca can easily say, "Look, the fuck, I'm not a tag team wrestler. Like I should be main eventing, and I."
She has. She's won the main event of WrestleMania for a championship. So why am I stuck down?
I'm stuck down here
in a
carrying
tag team,
your weight.
Yeah, carrying this tag team and trying to bring you along. Yeah, so it makes 100% sense.
Yeah. But Charlotte was the right call. And I think when we talk about her reaction in Indianapolis compared to the reaction in Cleveland, that's Triple H knowing that, A, even the most dastardly heel comes back as a babyface all the time.
One night.
Because
everyone's happy to see you.
It happened to Triple H in his career. 2002, he comes back. Triple H, the biggest heel in in the Attitude Era, comes back. MSG standing ovation.
Then he kicks Shawn Michaels in the dick from or something like that, and that's how it ends.
All those people who were like, oh, how come Cleveland booed Charlotte Flair even though she was cheered on Saturday? That could have happened anywhere.
Yeah. Didn't really matter where she was. The reality set in she's back, and then she won it, too. I think if Charlotte didn't win, then who knows what happens. I'm going to go in the Elimination Chamber. I'm going to keep fighting for that. Like, that would have been one thing, but, like, she won.
You even saw the heel tendencies when she came out anyway.
Oh.
Like, the pyro was still going off while they were still wrestling.
It's what I always said about someone like Ricochet in WWE. Like, you look like a heel. Like, you don't look like anybody else. Charlotte. Tall, blonde, athletic, talented. She can talk. She doesn't look like everybody else. It's one of the reasons why Cena had a hard time for a while connecting with maybe not necessarily the youth, but like the people, guys our age. Some would say maybe the key demographic for certain areas of pockets of wrestling and its history. Like, who looks like John Cena? Who does what Cena does? I know a lot more people look like Jey Uso and can do what he does.
Yep.
I know a lot more people look like CM Punk and do what he does. Hell, Seth Rollins even.
And that's why I love Gunther's promo on Monday, only because, in a way, it makes sense. It's like, from his standpoint, his legacy doesn't improve if he beats Jey Uso. Like, yeah, it improves if he beats CM Punk, beats not Undertaker,
John Cena,
Roman,
whoever.
Like, that was the names that he mentioned. But he's like, I have to ramp up the violence. I have to make it worthwhile for me. I'm like, if you pick me, I'm going to ramp up the violence every single week.
I would not be surprised if somehow they incorporate a third person into that match just to try and bring a little more into it. I don't know who, and I don't want to jump the gun and try and take away a one-on-one match from Jay, but
we'll see.
It doesn't feel like a main event. That's the only problem.
It feels like right now whatever Roman Reigns does, that could be
Cody.
Even at Triple Threat, which I'm not a big fan of, but we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
All right. So the Women's Royal Rumble that happened. All right. Cool. Men's. I want to address one quick thing, and I know we got bigger things to fry in that match. Penta. This is not AEW. I watched the replay. I saw the shit live. Both of your feet hit the floor.
You know what? I'm not going to...
You need to...
There's one thing to botch multiple moves in a match. It's his first Royal Rumble. This is not a normal match, one-on-one, and he's making all these mistakes. It's a thing where, hey, we all know both feet, but that's not part of the plan. Normally you roll with it and you say, okay, you're out. But like they had bigger plans for him. He was in the match for like 43 minutes or whatever it was. He needed to be in there significantly longer.
Yeah.
So I understand the frustration, and believe me, I'm not happy with it. I think there needs to be, there probably was a discussion and like, hey man, you just got to make sure this match, there's so many moving parts. We got to make sure we hit these cues and do what we do.
We got Penta. They
I'll
obviously
take
have
that.
big pass. We got to clean some things up. We can't run over on time. You know, like we talked about a couple weeks ago. Can't do that. Can't be messing. You know, there's a bigger audience.
It's his first time in his career where he's being produced by professionals. So you have to. People gave AEW a couple years for grace, right? To say, hey, you know, it's an alternative. We're excited to see it. I'd imagine you need to do a little bit of the same with Penta, from a standpoint of he hasn't had this level of production behind him before. It's been a lot of, hey, go do your shit.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to do? Yeah, go ahead. Like, he needs the guidance a little bit, and there's going to be some trial and error with that. Am I saying we should excuse every single issue? No. I understand people obviously being upset about that, but I also understand that there's a curve, especially learning. And the guy debuted 2 weeks ago.
We did. Rebecca and I joked, though, at the show. It was like, all right, Drew McIntyre's coming out to the ring. In the ring at that time, I think it was Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk. It was like, all right.
Not yet. Drew was, I think, Roman came in at 16, Drew came in at 17. You had to wait. You had to wait till like 23, 24, 25 was Cena. I think it was then Punk, then it was Rollins.
Gotcha. So,
but there was a period. There was a couple bigger guys.
Right.
There,
so you got all these big guys in there, and Drew's going down the ring. He's like, it's like, all you people in the ring, like, you ended my career or, you know, disrupted my career. Did this,
there was multiple bloodline members in there.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Because Jacob was in there too.
Jacob Fatu was in there.
Yeah.
And we
what
joked.
the fuck is Solo?
And we joked. And we joked. It was like, Drew McIntyre's going after the one guy who he can't stand out of all those bloodline members. Penta coming for that ass.
Yeah, you see red until you see blue, and then you go out to Penta, and yeah.
What were some of the things that stood out to you in the men's rumble?
I think they wanted to make the Hendry Roman moment feel a little bigger than it was, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that part of the Hendry wave, kind of like the LA Knight thing, a little bit past that hill of Joe being it's over. Like, he was peak over probably last fall, maybe even summer. So people were like, holy shit. Now it's kind of like, hey, he's champion, cool. Like, if you're a TNA fan, he's the most over he's ever been. But if you're watching and you're anyone else, which unfortunately is a lot of other people in wrestling, it's like, oh yeah, Joe Hendry, I remember that guy. He was really cool like a year ago, right? It's like, yeah. I was surprised we didn't see Dolph Ziggler. Just from a standpoint of having that rivalry with Joe.
No Nick
Nemeth coming out, which, I mean, would have been cool. I mean, fucking Fandango can come back on NXT, but Nick Nemeth can't be Dolph Ziggler for one night on the Royal Rumble? I guess not. Could have been appeared in like his 18th Rumble or whatever the fuck it would have been.
I'm embarrassed to say, by the way, I was actually pretty excited when that music hit.
When Joe Hendry's in?
Fandango. I was actually pretty excited.
I didn't even know who it was until I showed the graphic. I'm like, oh yeah, fuck, who cares?
I'm like,
yeah.
I didn't care for the guy back in the day. I'm like,
unless Summer Rae's coming with him, I didn't give a shit.
Oh man, listen.
I was a little surprised New Day didn't get their spots in the Rumble.
Who?
New Day.
New Day.
I guess Big E really is not cleared. Because I would think that would be a spot for him. That would have been a great little mini story in there. No one has to win out of those three, but I mean, that would have been cool. And it would have been nice to maybe, hey, Big E and Jay, the last two. Maybe Jay does surprise eliminate Cena, and he has his moment, but like, I get you want to have Jay getting his hand raised by Cena. I understand that. It's the ultimate endorsement. John trying to put other people over. Shocker. But, you know, nevertheless, I mean, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
I think that moment would have been nice. It leads me to believe maybe Big E isn't really.
I don't think it's happening.
Which is unfortunate.
I know it's wrestling. Anything.
Once he was doing
never say never, but
before the men's Rumble, when he was doing like the commentary, I was like, either he's gonna sprint down there and he's gonna find a way to get into this, or no one's in this fucking match, and nobody was in the match. Other than that, the men's Rumble wasn't really that surprising to me.
Not surprising.
I thought it was solid for what it did. I don't know if CM Punk's ever going to win this. This was the year. If you were going to do it, and the only other person that could rival Jay in popularity right now, with the way the promos he was cutting, the story made sense, it's lined up, was CM Punk.
Had to be CM
And
Punk.
he was healthy.
Yeah.
He didn't get hurt.
Had
He was
Punk.
good to go, and it wasn't.
That's why.
And Logan Paul, of all people, I swear to God, if we get CM Punk versus Logan Paul at WrestleMania, I might not watch that match. I can't. Like, you got to be fucking kidding. No.
I think Logan Paul is in line for another match. I think he's in line to face Cena. Logan Paul.
I don't know.
And I think
I picked that match, but I don't know.
The reason why was because of what Cena said after the show, where he's like, after all my years of dedication service,
I feel I've earned this.
I've earned this. I have to win this. And who's the one guy again who, throw all that out of the window?
If it's not for a title, the only other person that makes sense for Cena at WrestleMania is Logan Paul.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get it.
I'm just trying to find a way to get out of that Roman, Punk, Rollins triple threat.
Oh, we're fucking getting it.
I just think, I don't know if we're wasting some stuff. I don't know. I know it's early. I know if you actually just threw the match out there, it'll probably be a great story. It'll probably be a great match. I just don't know.
The sad part is, I mean, Seth and Roman can be a match at WrestleMania.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
but then what do you do with Punk? Does Punk win the
face Cody?
I mean, does Punk win the chamber? Yeah, at that point. I mean, I don't know.
But then we make this deal about the favor, which
what is that even?
I'm not even concerning myself with the favor, but I know I have to be objective and consider the favor.
We also consider this favor is going to get cashed in this year. Like, if we've learned anything, and I've said this multiple times from Triple H's booking, it can be spread out. It could be next year. It could be the year after that. Who the fuck knows? It could be a ride to the airport. Punk mentioned that.
One other thing before we move on. I was a little surprised to see Jacob Fatu eliminated a little bit earlier than I expected. But I'm not upset about it because of who was left. And I guess you want to protect Fatu. I think you want to protect him.
You don't want him in the ring with some of those guys.
Yeah.
But we did want to see Fatu and Breakker look at each other. We did want to see a little bit of that, like foreshadowing of what the next. I think even Cole said it. You're looking at a future WrestleMania main event
with him and Roman.
Yeah. So like it's
What I did find, I want to transition to this here. I can finally credit myself, by the way, one of those photos. But what I found in that every time Jacob Fatu faced off against somebody new, there was. But did it come across this way on television?
You were like,
there was buzz, like, ooh.
Yep. Mm-hmm. When you're that, and now people, Uso, Fatu is gonna get the fuck over real big, real quick. Now I'm surprised people it's gonna be SmackDown will be wild, but I mean he's building himself along the way now, and maybe it's good that Solo disappeared because I don't know, it's not gonna.
We'll talk about Raw and Cleveland for a second. Real quick about Saturday in the Royal Rumble. Number one, for those here in Cleveland who are against a new football stadium, I understand cost. That I completely understand. I get it. But if you are, other than costs, which is a huge deal, but if you're just in the camp of that stadium on the lakefront is tradition, and it has to.
Tradition left in '94.
This is a state of the art.
Time to move the fuck on.
This is a state of the art stadium. All kidding aside, we're up in the section 600 or whatever. Didn't care. It was free tickets. I was happy. I didn't care.
You didn't know you were gonna be there.
I didn't know I was gonna be there. And every 200 feet, there were concession stands. Like, you walk down the stairs, you get beer. You walk to the other section, you get your hot dogs or whatever. You walk to the other section, you get, hamburgers and chicken sandwiches and stuff. Like, there was stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
Even up there. Like, there was stuff everywhere. And it's a state-of-the-art stadium. Not just state-of-the-art stadium, but the convention center is connected to the stadium. So you never really had to step outside to get to the stadium.
Well, you're a cold weather city. You think it'll make a lot of sense. Yeah, let's make sure we, put our ducks in a row with that. So that way people don't have to worry about I have to go outside in the snow or the cold or whatever to cross over. And
one other thing too. So my advice to the leaders of the city of Cleveland: if you don't have a plan to build a state-of-the-art stadium, kind of like this.
Let it go.
Let
it's
it go.
15 minutes down the fucking road.
Yeah.
Partner with the city of Brook Park and the Browns and try to work your way in to get something in there for you too. I don't know, figure something out.
Yeah. Let it.
Instead of just being, sourpuss about it. You're not leaving Cleveland.
I'm telling you, you're
Still
gonna
here.
lose. You're gonna lose out on a lot of money that's being filtered in. Like all the events that they have scheduled at Lucas Oil is just nuts. Even for the next 3 months, like we have a commission here in Cleveland too that does a pretty good job with scheduling events. You know, the Gilberts, they do a great job with the Greater Cleveland Sports Commission scheduling events and whatnot, and they're doing the best they can. But come on now, let's get with the times. It's 2025.
The city of Brook Park doesn't have the ability to do what the Greater Cleveland Sports Commission does and try to book that dome and all that stuff. They're going to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
So take the lead on that, and then the city of Cleveland can take some profit from it. Like, I don't understand why it's.
One other thing before we get to our reaction of Raw.
Yeah.
You notice, and this is a good thing. I kind of caught this when we were live on my West 6 of SummerSlam, but it really hit me at this event. And then we also went to the shop the next day.
Yeah.
At the convention center. Great stuff.
Did you find the Wagadom by any chance?
I did not.
Fuck.
No.
I wanted to see a video of it hitting it down with a steel chair.
No, we did not see it. When we went, though, I think Sami Zayn was there doing autographs.
Nice.
The clientele. So years ago, WWE made the choice to go PG. The story sucked. But they have found a way now in 2025 to really balance, like, okay, we want good, edgy storylines, but also a balance of family entertainment.
Right.
You know, it's the old, way back when you talk to somebody about, like, oh, you're a wrestling fan and you're around wrestling fans, you think of, like, men who smell and don't, and men who smell, they don't shower, they don't do this, that store was filled with families. I would say even probably if you broke down between men and women, probably 60-40, 55-45 men versus women, because there were a ton of kids, a ton of families. And between that and the event on Saturday and Raw, wrestling right now is at a state where kids are invested and you're okay with it. Grown adults are invested and you're okay. The family I sat next to on Raw, up in the nosebleeds, it was a mother, father, child. The child was a huge Jey Uso fan. The mother is a huge CM Punk fan. And then the father actually was a huge Seth Rollins fan. Like you had a mix, and it's just really, really cool to see. And it's cool to be a wrestling fan. I think these two nights really proved that it's cool to do this show, and it's cool to talk about wrestling. It's cool to be around wrestling, and to find out that damn near the whole city was at Monday Night Raw.
20,000 people in that arena. That's
was crazy. You say you took your son.
Yeah. His first ever show. I went to my first one. I think I was like 9 or 10, somewhere in there, and he's only 7. So he went. This is earlier than I ever went on a Monday night. Which hindsight being 2020, probably should have thought about that and said, "Hey, maybe we go to a Friday Night SmackDown first." Even though it's a little bit longer of a show, at least it's on a Friday. You don't have to wake up early in the morning. Felt kind of bad about that, but he was good. He went to school and he had energy and was telling all his friends about it. But he was into it. I mean, he was out there when Jay first came out, and I had the video of him doing the eat and all that stuff, and he was asking me again, like, who do we cheer for, who do we boo for, that kind of thing. And they don't like her. Should we boo her? I'm like, yeah, go ahead. And he's booing him, and then, like, it's great. It's an experience that if you haven't had it, I'd recommend going to, especially one of these shows. And now is the time to do it, because wrestling fans, when you go to shows, they've always been pretty friendly. It's a different level now of just. It doesn't matter who you're by, who you're sitting by. You could be sitting next to a group of guys that are there for a night out with the boys. You could sit next to, like I was behind me, there was 4 women that came together. They're talking about the one's training to be a wrestler, and the other 3 are supporting her, and they're excited to be here and just watch the show. And they're talking about the amount of knowledge these girls had about wrestling.
That's the thing. All these people,
mind-blowing.
All these people, whomever we're talking about, they are knowledgeable about the product.
It's wild.
Like they know, like on Saturday and then Monday night, everyone is like Not just like, oh, it'd be cool to see it every day. They're
Yeah.
knowledgeable about the product. They're watching.
So into it. And that was actually kind of cool to hear him talk about, like, oh yeah, Charlotte, and they were talking about like all this stuff about her past and everything. I'm like, wow, they know their shit. I'm like, all right, cool. This is interesting. All right. But
we had a kid like 2 or 3 rows behind us that was he hated he loved the heels. Loved them. He blurted out. He was like, Seth sucks. And we were like, does he have a parent here?
who has Padre?
Oh man, it's great stuff. You're right. There's not a better time to attend a WWE show than right now, and it's like they've worked very hard to make it family friendly, and now they're finally striking a chord with it. And now you have wrestlers, and that was the other thing. And it's like, Rebecca and I, we talked about this. Like, so is Seth Rollins a babyface or a heel? Oh, he's a babyface. CM Punk, is he a babyface or a heel? Babyface. Well, how can you root for one or the other? Well, we do that in our normal lives, right? There are people who are good people, and you're in conflict, and that's why I love, like, when Rollins came out. It's like, hey, Cleveland, there's going to be some things I'm going to say that you may or may not like.
It's nuanced characters done the right way, where we know when it comes down to it, the morals are good. Like Roman Reigns, it's getting cheered, but we know at the end of the day, he hasn't changed. He's still technically a heel. Like, same shit. He's saying the same stuff he was. He just was gone for a while, so people missed him. Whereas Punk, gone for a while, but people know we love him. We want him to be there. We know at the end of the day, he wants to, obviously, he does it for people. He didn't have to come back. He made more than enough money. He didn't have to be here.
But then even he said he's here. He's not here to make friends. I'm here to do business.
Yeah, but people like that because it's the anti-hero type thing and all that stuff. And that was his thing all the way back when he first was in WWE the first time. So, I mean, Seth, we know. Like, he's already tried to right his wrongs from the Shield stuff. He brings it up to fuck with Roman. But other than that, he's trying to move forward and do good shit. Those guys are nuanced, though, and they have peaks and valleys of where they say certain things or act certain ways. That can lead you to say, oh, he's kind of being a dick right now. But you know the end thing with that. Like, we know Gunther's an asshole. We know he's a heel. You could have moments where you're like, oh, that's pretty good, or that's pretty funny. The Logan Paul thing was funny a couple weeks ago, where he's like, I hope it's you that wins. Like, people cheered that. They thought it was funny. But we also know that, okay, Gunther is a heel. Like, there's still the line somewhere. Cody Rhodes can have those moments of just pure violence and hate and anger, but we still know in the back, kind of like Cena, it's like he could have those moments against Kane, against those kind of guys where it's like, man, is he going to fucking do something? No, it's John. He's not going to fucking turn. And he didn't. So, I mean, Cody's a face. Those guys, they have those lines they won't fully cross.
Right. I want to make this quick before we take our break. So you said earlier in the show, you booed Charlotte Flair. Most of Cleveland booed Charlotte Flair. I didn't know how this was going to go at first. For those who just joined us again, state why you booed Charlotte Flair.
Because she's Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
And I think even if she was going to get cheered, I'd still boo her. Because I feel like her presentation screams heel. There's been nothing she's done throughout the course of her entire career that says, I want to cheer her. It's not that I don't think that she's great or she hasn't done, but I feel like she presents herself as a heel. She is a Flair. She's using the hyped up fucking Ric Flair theme, which I wish she would have changed that. If she would have changed it and they would have revamped her image a little more, I think there would have been more cheers because it would have been her being fresh and doing something different. But they brought her back as that same character, and that's the problem. Like, that's why she's going to get booed. If that wasn't the intent, probably should have saw that coming. I feel like it was.
Yeah, and that's the point I want to jump at. This is clearly intentional.
Well, they want to get Tiffany over even more.
This is clearly intentional. This is, they know if Charlotte comes out, she's getting all the pyro. Every time she comes out, she's getting pyro. NXT Tuesday night, pyro.
Pyro in NXT is wild.
NXT,
that arena's kind of small.
That never happens. You're getting pyro. Just for talking. Charlotte told you during her return videos, that she's better than you. Charlotte told you that she's better than us.
She didn't change the character.
Charlotte told us that, she lives this type of lifestyle. Charlotte told you that you do not understand what it takes to go through injury. Like, she's better than you. She's better than us. That's her character.
That's her name's Boomy. Like, it's obviously
They're
it was
ramping
planned.
this up. I see people are
And
like...
Triple H knew that, hey, when she comes back initially, there's going to be some cheers because she's back. And people are going to respect the fact, hey, she was gone for over a year.
Mm-hmm.
Her knee was wrecked. And she fought back, and she's here. And we appreciate her coming back. She, again, another person doesn't have to come back.
Mm-hmm.
She's done more than enough in the industry. She's probably made more than enough money through not even just WWE contracts, but endorsements and ads and all that shit. Cricket Wireless is playing half the WWE roster at this point. But nevertheless, I mean, like, it's... Yeah, you're next. Yeah, don't worry about it. But, I mean, yeah, we knew what was coming with that, so I'm not surprised. And my son booed her, too, so there you go.
All right. When we come back, you like this? You like this?
You like that? Hey, Browns fans, you like that?
You like that?
You're about to.
Also, who's more hated between these two? Logan Paul, Westlake's own, and Kevin Owens. Where's he from? Montreal?
Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
Who's hated more? We'll talk about that. And time permitting, now what? For some of the superstars that did not win the Rumble, the WrestleMania picture is kind of starting to become clear. But now what for some of our top superstars that did not come out on top at WrestleMania? But first, speaking of now what, we got Tom from BA Sweeties. We got Mike from State Farm, professional wrestler Mike from State Farm, who just celebrated 3 years of his office. How about that? And then Megan Gallagher, who started her firm 3 months ago, and is now celebrating really good things going. So let's hear from all of our friends right now. Tom, do you know where everything is here in the store?
No.
Okay.
In a general idea, I do, but I can't tell you how many times my office is on the floor of the store,
Right.
And my door is always open. All our managers' doors are always open if they're there. So if any customer has a question or whatever, if they can't find an employee, stock guy or whatever on the floor, they can just, hey, where's this at? So I can't tell you how many times a customer would come in and say, can you tell me where sugar-free candy is? And I'll say 12N. No, I say no, 12S.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And it says it's right down. Go down this way because you're in aisle 7 now. 5 more aisles or whatever. And then I'll think about it after they leave, and I'm like, oh man, I told them the wrong aisle. It's aisle 13.
What should fans who might be watching you here in Cleveland for the first time, hey, they look you up on the website, on the app, they call you, what should they expect?
Yeah, I mean, first off, between me and my team, you're going to get one of us. If you want to deal directly with the man, you're more than welcome to. I don't mind. I love working with customers because I look at it this way. I have a lot of good life experience financially. I said 12 years of banking. I've got now 2.5 years of insurance. I have a lot of money and just kind of life and financial stuff knowledge. So that's what I look to do, is to truly help people get from that point A to point B financially. It's not about just, saving money on auto insurance, sure, but if I can kind of turn that into a better discussion, really help people understand what actually insurance does, why it's important, because it's not a tangible. I joke when I leave that I lock the office door so no one steals all the insurance, but there's not just insurance laying around. So there's just it's kind of a mystery kind of component in people's lives that they think is a scam and all the different things you hear. It's not. It can feel like it sometimes. I'm not going to say that it doesn't, but if you understand how it works and understand and have a person who you can go to help with those kind of situations, that's what we're here to do. That's what my team's here to do. That's what I'm here to do, and that's what I take a lot of pride and have a lot of passion in, obviously, as you can probably tell. So,
Well, I know you said the joke, hey, we lock the door so no one steals the insurance, but it's exactly right.
Small business owners are superheroes, but nowadays running your business means doing so inside your shop and on social media. That's why you should make Omega Video Marketing your sidekick.
With a decade of content creation experience, I create dynamic, informative, and fun videos for your specific social needs that will increase brand awareness, get you more followers, and keep your social pages and websites current and fresh.
I offer flexible pricing and turn times and will work with you to understand your brand and your story. All of that comes from the heart. My award-winning expertise is just the cherry on top. So let's get connected. After all, your brand is the alpha and my expertise is the omega.
Welcome back. A lot of good stuff happens.
We have fun during the commercial break. Hey, so if you watched last week, update, Jacob can open the door now, which is fantastic. He practiced. He worked really hard. The little marshmallow that could now can. So we're super excited here.
By the way,
so many new doors opening. Yeah,
million marshmallows, you can get a BA Sweeties.
Oh, fantastic. Mini marshmallows are so good. Yeah.
Here, I'll tell you what, she's adding new clients. Of course, if you're a small business, digital content creator, looking to drive up, as we turn into kind of the beat of the first quarter, a lot of companies looking to kind of drive up and get their sales up and going.
And with the future of TikTok still not necessarily certain, we know it got extended for a little bit of time here. I mean, there's still a lot of what ifs about social media and how to utilize that best. Where do I want to go? Megan's got the answer for you.
Megan RG440 at gmail.com. That's Megan RG440 at gmail.com. That's how you can reach her. We get that word out, man. Definitely. Whether it's for like just social media purposes or you need a hookup on LinkedIn.
Is it wrong when you said get the word out? I thought about you putting the word in a bottle and throwing it out the door. Got to get that word out. Oh, you could have thrown it. You're fine. There's a trash can over there.
My trash can's like
the moment passed. You missed your opportunity. Dang. You also don't want to miss your opportunity when it comes to Mike from State Farm. Again, he is fantastic. Double A's mentioned it. Professional wrestler. This dude actually made his debut back in January. Still pissed I missed that. But nevertheless.
He's still hurting from that.
I can believe it. He's still recovering. Maybe he'll get ready by the time mid-March comes around. But nevertheless, Mike Favorite, again, myfavoriteagent.com. The phone number, 216-932-6900. That's 6900. Dude is fantastic. It's, again, that time of year with car accidents, all that stuff. You want to try and get a new quote, get an idea about what insurance would look like through State Farm. Mike is the guy to reach out to. It's also just nice to have an agent that you don't regret or don't like, not feel good about calling.
Mm-hmm.
Mike has that personality where he's able to really make you feel like, you know what? I'm getting the most out of this, and my agent actually cares.
Yeah, and again, congratulations to the office, too. Sarah's up there, too, like 3 years.
Man.
3 years.
That's awesome. This wasn't his original career path. He had other things going on in his life in the banking world, too, and he kind of shifted and took a chance, and he has been great at this. He's found his niche as far as being able to really deliver, not only in the ring, but obviously outside when it comes to insurance policies, claims, things that you obviously care about on a day-in, day-out basis. Mike's been able to hit a home run every single day.
Yes, he has, and he hopes to hit a home run in the ring.
Just stay off the fucking turnbuckle.
Please.
Do not climb those ropes again, Mike. Please.
Oh, man.
Dude, we're tall men. We got to stay fucking grounded. Stay down. We don't belong up there, man. Second rope, tops. Inside the ring.
I will admit, though, I will take Sarah works with him in the office. I will take him over these guys. But these guys can dance. They can help out.
Yeah, they were doing it. They were doing something.
Yeah. The claims adjuster. Also, reminder, you can watch Exodus Pro, their last few shows, including Begin Again, on their YouTube channel. Just search for NWA Wrestling.
And that's the next one. When in Rome 2 coming up. I think it's March, is it 11th?
15th.
15th. Okay, I couldn't read the bottom there.
Yep, March 15th.
Yeah, so that's exciting. Another chance. Obviously, main event's going to be EC3 versus Richard Holiday. Apparently, this may be the end. This has been a long brewing feud that's involved the NWA World Championship for a while. There's been a lot going on with these two guys. And essentially, for Richard Holiday, this is the chance to earn that title shot again against Tom Latimer.
Earn those flowers. He is going to demand those flowers.
And, of course, EC3's line, you get your flowers at your funeral. So
that's a cutthroat line.
That's a solid line. So we're looking forward to that match. Maybe possibly getting both these men on the show at some point here in the next few weeks to gear up for what's going to be an exciting March over at Exodus Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, doors open at 6:05. Again, 1 hour later.
A little different, a little more time now.
Doors at 6:05 they open, and then the bell rings at 7:05. So cannot wait. And by the way, one last thing. Don't miss out on getting there early. Going to get some good seats, and as well a match exclusive to Dark Match. That's exclusive to the in-person audience, so you don't want to miss out. All right.
I know you don't like this.
I don't. Okay.
Why not?
look, I understand the match. If they deliver with this match, I think it'll be a great match. I just think
this is a way to take care of Punk's favor.
Honestly, this is kind of it feels like right now a throwaway. Because this is saying, if you get this match, number one, this means that John Cena is going to face Cody at WrestleMania.
But we don't know when this match will be announced. That's the thing.
I'm assuming
if it's post Elimination Chamber after all that stuff, maybe Cena wins it, whatever, and Punk doesn't have an avenue there, and Rollins and Reigns are feuding, and then his favor is, hey, Paul, get me in the match. Because I want both of them.
I know. I guess
then it makes sense a little bit.
I guess for me, maybe because I was so high on Punk main eventing WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I'm not upset about Jey Uso winning the Rumble.
No.
But I'm just saying, like...
What's their definition of main event? Because honestly, this could still go on last on night one, and it could be a main event.
It's so loose now. Like, even the build-up of some of the matches going into the Rumble. Like, you heard the Usos say, like, they main evented. You heard Sami Zayn, he main evented. Kevin Owens main evented.
Well, we went to two
and
nights.
I know technically that's true, but it's just like... okay.
I mean, literally, they went on last, but it was mostly night one.
Like, I'm not arguing the technicalities. It was just like, okay. I'll say this. I just think Roman and Seth, that could be a one-on-one match.
You're right. It 100% could be.
Punk and
either one of them one-on-one could be a one-on-one
match.
I mean, Punk and Rollins was the plan last year.
You know what?
But there has to be something different now because they've had that one-on-one match.
Yeah.
That's the only problem you've found yourself
I guess
with.
for me,
we've seen
how do they treat these three with the chamber? Obviously, Punk advanced into the chamber.
Yes.
Cena's already in the chamber.
Rollins.
I hope they mention too that Cena got favorable treatment.
Yeah.
We know behind the scenes.
I'm sure.
Why,
well, he said, "I'll give you a month to slander my name." Like,
we need to hear from these guys. Yeah. Like, why the you know what? Does Cena get an automatic entry into the chamber?
We're also assuming Roman's going to be there. Mm-hmm. There's no guarantee Roman's going to be in this chamber. Yeah, Seth's getting Finn Balor. He's probably going to beat Finn and get it, unless Roman costs him that match. Then there's your match. But those two, they can build it because Roman's not around. So I mean, by the time they actually get in front of each other, it will be a week before WrestleMania.
True.
But nevertheless, I mean, that's your way. I mean, Seth probably gets into that match too. I don't know if Roman's going to be in the chamber. Roman might cost Seth and Punk in the chamber. Maybe that's how you get to...
I just don't want this to be a throwaway. We really don't have anything for these guys to do. Here's a match.
Oh, but the story with all three of them is a story, though.
I want this to be a well-told story, which there are elements there. I guess for me, it's just more of...
You don't want the multi-man match. You want it one-on-one. You want it to really be a focus of two people.
I guess I wanted Punk to main event.
We both had him winning the Rumble and being there, and that Cody... I mean, they did this last year, though, too, with him and Cody.
I know.
It looks so good. And they had basically a mini match at the end of that Royal Rumble.
Because that's what I'm concerned about. It's like you said earlier in the show, if Punk does a main event this year.
When is he going to do how many?
It won't happen.
He literally said he's on the same path Cena is. He's just not making a big deal about it. So it's like, okay, well, fuck. How many more years does he have left? 2?
Yeah.
Maybe 3 if he can stay healthy. And staying healthy when you're that older, it's hard to stay healthy. This guy fought through all the injuries before. He's not doing that shit now. If he gets hurt, he's going to take time off and get better. So it's like you're almost kind of on borrowed time here with his age and how he wrestles. It's like, fuck, man. Like I really thought this could have been the year, but
these three could cut a promo.
The build up. I'm not worried. I'm not worried. If this ends up being the plan, I'm not worried about it. I would still enjoy the match. I feel. I don't know who comes out over on that. I don't know where it goes on the card. Depends obviously on who's in the championship matches. I think Jey and Gunther may end up opening night 1 of WrestleMania. I don't think it's going to be the main event. Honestly,
we'll see. We'll see.
Because they promised. So technically, then Cody's out of the main event. And whoever Charlotte doesn't pick, the other champion, if it's not Rhea, she's out of the main event. So it's going to be Charlotte and Tiffany probably on night 1 main event, and Jey and Gunther on night 2 main event. That's my whole problem with saying you're going to main event WrestleMania if you win the Rumble. No, the fuck you're not.
You could interpret it however.
Those two, you're going to have a championship match at WrestleMania, but if you're not the best story, you're not going to be in the main event. And I hate to break it to you, neither one of those stories probably going to be in the main event.
To be perfectly honest, too, like we kind of throw out the term main event, like you know, the opening match of any card.
You could co-main event.
Could be deemed as a main event.
You could co-main event.
Be a co-main event.
It could. I think that's going to happen with Charlotte, and that might happen with Jey too. Maybe it's the co-main event on one of those nights because these guys, and then whoever Cody does,
like the top 4 matches could be like, oh, here are the co-main events. But we all know it's the match that goes out last on the card. It's the match that sends people home.
Yeah.
That could be. But we're a little short on time. I want to quickly get to this. I should have adjusted a little bit. My bad. Who's more hated? Logan Paul. Right now, who's more hated? Logan Paul or Kevin Owens?
Logan Paul.
Yeah.
100%.
Not even close.
KO is a different kind of hate. KO is the hate where it's like we know he's like really good too, and there's a build toward it. I'm not saying Logan isn't. I think Logan plays the professional wrestler role perfect. I think he knows exactly what to do, which is essentially just be himself, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you get booed in your hometown, like even the Miz comes back if he's in a heel Miz,
every time,
and he gets cheered.
Every time the Miz comes back, at first he's cheered, and then he'll say something that'll get people to boo.
Dark Match Monday, Johnny Gargano comes out because he's part of DIY, which apparently you don't like the theme song. I actually like DIY's new theme song.
I forgot to bring that up. I don't really recognize a ton of theme songs in wrestling anymore.
Like, that guy's synonymous with that. I mean, Drew probably has
like
one with a sword.
Like the Motor City, Motor City Machine Guns part. DIY.
Well, because they've changed it multiple times. I like this DIY one because
Yeah.
Johnny's embracing it a little more and doing the dance.
I guess
and all that
because
stuff,
on our way to the show, we were listening to old theme songs from like Jim Johnson and like that. It's like, okay.
Oh, don't tell Suplex Media about Jim Johnson. He thinks if they go backwards, they're gonna
actually
put the wrestling business back 20 years. Like, those decisions John Moxley's talking about in his dumbass fucking promo that was 20 minutes long. Yeah, no. No, how about someone who's just good? I don't care if you're new, old, whatever. Just someone who's talented at the job. Can you fucking do it? Like, that's all you need. I don't care about it. Oh, he's going to be 72. Fuck you. Like, if he can do the job well, put him in the spot.
Can't do it.
Idiot.
Can't do it. All right, we're out of time. We had a great graphic, too, there.
How about we save this for next week? We'll get a chance to see a full SmackDown back now, too. Maybe we'll get some ideas. We can ask you guys, too. I mean, some of these people, whoever didn't win the Royal Rumble, whoever's not really in a situation now, I mean, what do we do with them? What does, somebody like, Bron Breakker do now with the IC title? What about AJ Styles? He's back in the fold now.
Yep.
I mean, is he going to be in the main event somehow? Is he going to try and work his way into the chamber? Is he going to be...
Can he stay healthy for longer than 2 weeks?
I mean, is he going to be a TNA thing now? Is that going to be where, hey, AJ Styles...
We do got to address that, too, even with Joe Hendry and
Yeah.
now with the partnership with TNA.
What about Alexa Bliss? I mean, she's back apparently on SmackDown now. We'll see officially on Friday, but gives us a chance to breathe a little bit and figure out what's kind of coming down the pike now at WWE, because we know Chamber is like the last real big event before we get obviously to WrestleMania. So curious to see what the status is of some of the main players here in WWE after now we've passed officially Royal Rumble season, have entered WrestleMania season.
Yeah, we cannot wait. We'll pin this for next week.
Yes,
for sure. Make sure again, BA Sweeties. Interstate
pin
480.
that right now. Yeah,
Interstate 480. The Ridge Road exit. Get your candies, please. It's Valentine's Day weekend. Ridge Road exit. Make a left on Brook Park Road. The giant lollipop.
Don't
Please.
be one of those guys that waits till the last second. The good thing about candy is it doesn't expire for a while, so you can get ahead of the game a little bit. Make sure you're prepared. Maybe you got a big date night planned for obviously next weekend. It's going to be huge for Valentine's Day. Make sure you have all your ducks in a row. Don't do like you were at Christmas and wait till the 23rd or the 24th to go shopping, praying to God the Target's open on the 24th. Like, now they got limited hours, motherfucker. You need to get there earlier. Do it now.
With that being said, Kyle at AA, we cannot promise that once you buy this candy, you may or may not be tempted to eat it on the way home.
You buy it and put it away. You buy it, put it away.
A temptation.
Buy it, put it away. What's the least most traveled part of your house? Put it there. One, because you don't want her to find it, and two, you want to make sure you stay the fuck away from it.
You need to be disciplined from yourself.
Yes.
You used to sell those Kit Kats back in the day. You don't eat your profits. Don't do it.
See walking down the street in fucking Maple selling Kit Kats would be hilarious.
Remember the boxes too, like it's just open or whatever.
Oh, the candy bars. I told you I'd buy 2 or 3 of them. I asked my mom, "Hey, give me like $1.50 so I can eat these later."
He's like, "Aren't you supposed to be making money?" Like,
I technically still made money.
that's true.
She contributed.
Mike Faber, of course, 3 years true. 3 years. Check him out, Mike from State Farm. Get his number, 216-932-6900. That's his number. Get in contact with him. His office is in Cleveland Heights on the corner of Lee and Mayfield. Same building as Starbucks. So you get your coffee, Valentine's Day coffee specials. Get your coffee, have your meeting with Mike from State Farm. And, of course, as Kyle mentioned, you never know what's going on with social media, but Megan Gallagher, she's going to take care of you on social media from a content creating standpoint, professional standpoint, anything you need, video marketing, she's going to hook you up. Every week she's adding more clients too. So
It's crazy.
A lot of good stuff. Follow us on the socials.
Like and subscribe on YouTube. I know, folks, you see the clips obviously scattered throughout the Instagram, the TikTok, even Facebook too. Sometimes we throw some stuff up there, but YouTube is where we want to make a big mark. We know that's where we post, obviously, the video portion of this, the full podcast. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, clicking the notification bells and that so you get updates when we post the clips and also when you get to see the full episodes of this too. And, of course, you can listen on Spotify as well and the iHeartRadio app. The podcast feature there. So.
At Side Hustle Podcast 216 on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram.
Easy to find.
Very easy to find. Also, LPV Productions on YouTube. A lot of cool stuff we're doing there. Got some great shows, of course, as well. Voice of the Land, Wednesday nights. I'm sure they'll have a full breakdown of Myles Garrett as the world turns with the Cleveland Browns.
Man, it sounds like the next soap opera to play on local Cleveland airwaves.
Please stay, LeBron. Remember that? For Kyle Cornell,
it didn't work out very well.
For Jacob, Double A Anthony out for signing off. Again, next week, as Kyle mentioned, all the superstars that we did not mention, all your favorites who did not win the Royal Rumble, even some of the ones we talked about today. Now what? Where do you want to see your favorites placed on the road to WrestleMania? So definitely respond to us on that, and we will talk about it all next week right here on the Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast.
Hopefully get your voice back, man. You managed to get through this. I'm proud of you.
Dog, it was a struggle.
My dog. He's like 5 feet from the fucking basket.